Hey everyone, can you see me? Can you hear me? Like it's starting. Got video. Okay, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. Hey everyone, I'm Tim from Ledger. I'll be doing this week's live stream. We actually have Ty. He's going to be on my computer as a moderator. So when you see Tim typing in as a moderator, it's actually going to be Ty, and I'm using his computer to do this. So welcome. I appreciate everyone stopping by. This week, I am going to be doing a onboarding for a Nano S Plus. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and get started. We have Brady and Ty are both. Sorry, it's my first time. I'm a little nervous. We got Brady and Ty as moderators, so please direct all your questions to them. And then at the end, when I get done with the onboarding, I'll be able to go through and answer any other questions that you guys have direct. All right, great. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So when you first unbox your Nano S Plus, let's go ahead and try to hold it up for you right here. So you got your Trust Yourself card, you got your device, you got your secret recovery sheets, and then you have instructions on how to set it all up. We're not actually going to need this because I'm going to just talk our way through it today, so I'll put it to the side. All right, cool. So okay, I'm going to get this thing plugged in. All right, so when you first power on your Nano, they're all going to say the same thing, whether you have a Nano X, Nano S Plus, or Nano S. It's all going to open to a very similar screen right here. And then the buttons on the top right here, this is how you scroll. You have your scroll right, scroll left, and then pressing them both at the same time is how you select. So we'll scroll to the right, welcome to Nano S Plus. Scroll to the right, it's telling you to download Ledger Live. And then this gives you a quick tutorial on how to go through it. And then you're given two options when setting up a Nano device. You have set up as new device or restore from recovery phrase. Today, we're going to set it up as a new device because we want to generate a brand new set of 24 words for the recovery phrase and show you how to secure that. If you already had a Nano or if you already have a recovery phrase and you're just simply trying to restore your device using your original recovery phrase, you would choose this option and then you would import your recovery phrase into it. So we'll go ahead and set up as new device. The first step is going to be to set up your PIN. Your PIN could be 4 to 8 digits in length. Here, I'm actually going to switch this back to the main shot to explain this a little bit better. So it's important to know when you set up your PIN for your Nano, it's only used to unlock your actual Nano. Your PIN does not have anything to do with your accounts. So if you were to ever actually like forget your PIN or lose your PIN or not know how to get into your device, you would be able just to factory reset your device and then choose that second option to import your recovery phrase and then set up a new PIN after that. But it is important to set a nice strong PIN because this is how you will protect in case your device gets stolen. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and just to make things easy, let me go ahead and set this back to the Nano shot. I'm going to set this PIN. Sure you guys can. There we go. I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to confirm that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you see the check mark. If you do want to have a longer PIN, you can just go past that check mark and keep going. And then when you get done, up to 8 digits in length, you find the check mark again, and then that'll confirm it. And one other thing to mention is during the pin where you're entering in your pin, if you notice that it actually puts in a random order, like you'll have like a number, it does it randomly. That's so that someone across the room or someone sitting next to you can't count your button clicks to try to figure out your pin. It's just a little security feature that the Nanos have. And it's just important to keep in mind because a lot of people, we actually get tickets for that where they're like, oh, but the numbers are random and I don't know what's going on. And it's like, well, it's supposed to be like that, but there's just not good communication to explain that. So keep that in mind when you're setting up your pin or whenever you're entering. All right, cool. So we just got our pin set up, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 for this Nano, but I definitely recommend doing a stronger pin when you're setting up your own Nano. So right now, I'm trying to get that focus. All right, so right now it's going to generate the 24-word recovery phrase. So it's telling you to write it down, which is very important. It'll go through and it'll explain it to you. Try not to click through these prompts. Try to actually read them because they have very good information. So your device will generate 24 words. They are your recovery phrase. It is your only backup to restore your accounts if needed. Write it down and in the correct order, and then press both buttons to continue. And I'm going to switch back to the main shot. This is the most important part of the process. So I want to kind of just hammer away a few more details here about your recovery phrase. A lot of people don't know how important their recovery phrase is, or they know, but they're not. By where we get a lot of support tickets where people are like, hey, I lost my recovery phrase. Can you please, reset my accounts or give me access to my accounts? And unfortunately, this is impossible. And it's kind of a hard reality of self custody. Is that when you have your own recovery phrase, and nobody else has access to it, the only possible way to access those accounts is with that recovery phrase. So if it gets lost, if it gets destroyed, if anything happens to it, if it's written down in the incorrect order, if one word or two words are written down incorrectly, you could face a situation where you're permanently locked out of your account. So be very careful and make sure you write down your recovery phrase. Make sure you keep it in a very safe location, preferably in a safe, a fireproof safe. And a little bit later, we can talk about some other things, some other ways to secure your recovery phrase to make it a little bit more safe. But for now, we're just going to continue with generating the recovery phrase. All right, let's switch back to the Nano shot. All right, so here we are. Press both buttons to continue. All right. And also for this stream, I am going to show you these words, but obviously for a normal setup for your own device, you would not want these words to anyone to see these words for the reasons that I just said. All right, cool. There we go. The first word is expand. And yeah, all right, so I'm gonna switch over and I'm just gonna go through and write down these words. Grab a cover sheet. Actually going to use a recovery sheet that comes with the Nano X because extra city. All right. Try to write as legibly as possible. My own writing is not the most legible right now. All right, my pen is not great, but I should be able to go in and confirm these words. Ideally, you would want them written down a little bit more legibly than that. But for the sake of this stream, this will be just fine. Be able to make this work. Okay, so now after your last word, you'll click write one more time. Kind of focused. All right. And then now the step you have to verify. So press both buttons and you're gonna have to go through and confirm each one. So I'll just do this real quick off camera. Back to the main shot. Go through and confirm all these real quick. So while I'm doing this and confirming, see if I can multitask. There are some really cool things about that everyone should know about the recovery phrases, where they come from, what it means. So your recovery phrase is a set of 12, 15, 18, 21, or 24 words, I believe. And they're all pulled from the exact same list. It's called the BIP 39 word list. And there is a total of 2,048 words on this list. And that's it. So all recovery phrases are derived from this list. And so the BIP 39 word list, so basically the way it works is you get your recovery phrase, and then your recovery phrase can be broken down into a long string of characters, converted, and that's your master private key for your accounts. It's nice that you have it in Word format to make it easier to write it down and store it and keep it and recover your accounts. But that's what it is. And so maybe one of the mods can throw out like a link to the BIP 39, or you can just look it up, BIP 39 word list, and you just click on the GitHub link for it, and you can see all 2,048 words. Some other cool things about it is every single word on the list is actually uniquely identifiable by only the first 4 letters. And so technically, you really only need to write down the first 4 letters of your recovery phrase. Definitely write down the whole thing just so you have it to eliminate any confusion, in the future in case you ever have to recover your accounts. But keep that in mind that that's important. And the reason that I like to say that is because if you ever go through and while you're both confirming your recovery phrase during the initial setup, or if you were to go in and restore from recovery phrase, you'll notice that your nano is, as you put in letters, it's narrowing down to the word. And after you put in 4 letters, it knows exactly what word you're trying to do because it's the only possible word it can be. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then also, actually, we'll get to that later. Let's continue here. I'm gonna switch back to the nano shot. All right, cool. So I just confirmed all 24 words. We're good to go. So right now it's telling you your recovery phrase is set. Keep it in a very safe place. We talked about that a little bit. That's would be like in an actual safe or a lockbox or somewhere where you're very certain that nobody will be able to get to it. Okay, if it's lost or stolen, it's going over all that again. Again, it's very good to read these prompts. Press both buttons to continue. You see processing. And it says your device is ready. This point, we also, some users have some confusion at this point too because they think their device is ready. And they think they're good to go. So they will unplug it at this point. But actually, even though it said processing and it looks like, and it says your device is ready, your device technically is not ready until you actually go to the dashboard. And that's a little weird. But we are, hopefully gonna be able to fix that UI soon. But just remember, you have to go to the dashboard first. If you unplug it now, you're gonna have to start all the way over at the beginning to generate your. So we'll go to the dashboard, and then you see that we have no apps installed, right? And so now we're going to need to, now that we have our nano set up, we're going to need to go to Ledger Live. So let me go ahead and switch to live screen. All right, so I've got Ledger Live pulled up here. So when you first get it, when you first get your nano, it will say in the initial instructions when you first plug it in to download Ledger Live, and that's totally acceptable, and that's actually a good thing to do because when you go to Ledger Live, you select your nano. We have a Nano S Plus. You can select either first time using your Nano S Plus or already have a recovery phrase. If you are just plugging in for the first time and you're just downloading Ledger Live, you're going to want to select this. And this option will bring you through all the steps that we just went through. It'll walk you through setting up your nano. It'll walk you through generating your recovery phrase, setting up your PIN, and getting all good to go. But since we did, but I like to, for demonstrations, I always like to set it up without using Ledger Live, because I like to demonstrate to people that it's possible to set up your Nano completely offline. You can, let me switch back to the main shot real quick. You can plug it into a wall outlet, completely set it up, and then never even have it connected to the internet, never have it connected to your computer. And so you can be absolutely certain that your recovery phrase has never touched the internet at all. And also keep in mind, once the recovery phrase is saved inside your Nano, it's impossible to extract, even for you. Nobody can extract your recovery phrase. And so for that reason, that's another reason why it's very vital to have this copy somewhere safe where only you know where it's at and can get to it. All right. So we'll switch back to Ledger Live. All right, so since we did already set up our Nano completely offline, we already have a recovery phrase. I'm going to go ahead and select this option to connect our Nano. It appears to be, oh, there we go. All right, cool. Go back. All right, so here we go. Connect your Nano S Plus. All right, and this is the genuine check. So this is also a very important part of the process. This is where Ledger Live checks your Nano, and you see it says Allow Ledger Manager in Ledger Live. To the Nano shot real quick and show you what's happening on the Nano. So to bypass this screen and perform the genuine check, you have to physically do it from your device. So you have to press both buttons on top simultaneously to select Allow Ledger Manager. And this will allow Ledger Live to scan your device and verify that it has authentic firmware installed on it. And so if it ever fails this, switch back to Ledger Live, and it says all good. We're good. So we know that this Nano is authentic. It has authentic firmware. It's been set up and it's good to go. Ledger Live approves. If for whatever reason, if for whatever reason you fail the genuine check or you run into any issues, immediately open up a support ticket and let us know so we can take a look. Because to be honest, I've never actually seen a Nano fail a genuine check because it's been tampered with, but we know that it's possible, because if any of the hardware or anything inside the Nano is altered or changed, or if the firmware is changed in any way, it will not pass this genuine check. And then it will be impossible to install account or to create accounts. It'll be impossible to use the Nano. But we'd be very interested to know if you ever run into that. So please reach out to us. Anyway, that being said, we will go back to the Ledger Live version, or Ledger Live screen. Continue. And so when you initially set it up, you'll see that the accounts tab is grayed out. All these accounts having to do with having an account are grayed out because we do not yet have account. So the first thing we need to do, and it says add account, but actually the first thing we need to do is go to the My Ledger tab and install the Nano app applicable to the device. Okay, so it looks like we have a firmware update. This is the brand new Nano, so you always want to be on the latest firmware. This is like the most important part of the initial setup, is just making sure everything's up to date. So, and despite what I just said, we will go ahead and not install this firmware update right now because, yeah, I just like to continue with the demonstration, and this Nano may be used again in the future for a demonstration. So it's good to have this orange banner here to show people what a firmware update prompt looks like. So this is what it'll look like if you're in need of a firmware update. All right, so we will go ahead and just install the Ethereum app to show you what that looks like. You see it's installing. I'll switch to the Nano view as soon as it starts installing on the Nano, so you can see what that looks like. You see it's loading. Okay, and now we have the Ethereum application installed on our Nano. So let me switch back to the main shot. So the Ethereum application, if you see on the Ledger Live screen that there's a whole bunch of applications, and all the different applications are for each of the different blockchains. So these applications actually don't have anything to do with your, well, they do have something to do with your accounts. They have something to do with your account creation, but your actual accounts are not affected by these apps at all. So a lot of users will have our old product, the Nano S, that is doesn't have a lot of memory capacity, and so you can really only install a few apps on it at a time. But one cool thing about the Nano apps is like, for instance, we just installed the Ethereum app. Let's say we ran out of room and we also wanted a Bitcoin account. We can uninstall the Ethereum app, install Bitcoin, create an account, and then uninstall Bitcoin, put Ethereum back onto it, access our Ethereum account, and then bounce around like that. So you can actually, even with a device that is low on memory, has little memory, you can still have as many different accounts as you want. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, and to go in a little bit more detail, because it's really cool and it's good that people understand this. But what your Nano apps do is it gives your Nano the information it needs to communicate with that specific blockchain. It lets it create an account using a very specific derivation path, which is more of an advanced topic. But so I won't go more into detail on that right now. But of course, reach out to us if you'd like to know more. We love answering questions like that. Or look it up on our Ledger Academy, Help Center articles. It's all there. Yeah, so that's what the Nano app does. And so once you install the Nano app, now your device is able to communicate with that blockchain. Now you can go ahead and create your account. So let's go ahead and switch back to the Ledger Live view. And then we'll go ahead, apps installed. We have the Ethereum app. So we'll go ahead and create an Ethereum account. And then let me switch back to the Nano view real quick. So you'll see it needs us to open the Ethereum app on our device to be able to do this. So now it says applications ready. Oh, check it out. Hang on, let me go back to Ledger Live. It really wants me to update my firmware. So it looks like we're updating our firmware. Let's go back to the My Ledger tab. And let's get that firmware updated. All right, you're about to install this firmware. You have your recovery phrase. This is actually really good that we're going over this now that we're going through, and I see because there is a little bit of not necessarily risk depending on how you're set up, but whenever you update your firmware on your device, there's always a chance that something could happen during the update where your device will get factory reset. It does not happen very often. It's actually very rare that it does happen, but it does happen sometimes. And it tends to happen. We see the further out the firmware is, like if you have a device that's been sitting for a long time, and it got super old firmware on it, the likelihood of that happening tends to increase, but it's still pretty rare that it'll happen. So if that does happen, then you'll need to restore your recovery phrase onto your device to regain access to your accounts. And that would be the only way to do that. So again, keep that recovery phrase safe because that is the ultimate backup to all of your accounts. All right, so let me switch back to Ledger Live. We just installed the new firmware. Actually, I'll go to the Nano shot. So you have to confirm it on the Nano. So we got new firmware version 1.0.4. We're going to confirm it. And then now it's downloading. Go back to Ledger Live. Oh, Nano. And again, 4. And then back to Ledger Live, and we're updated. All right, let's reinstall our apps. Every time you do a firmware update, it will uninstall all of your Nano apps and make you reinstall them. So we have to allow Ledger Manager again on our Nano. Perform another genuine check for the new firmware that was installed. We're good to go. The Ethereum application is installing. Beautiful. All right. So now we can click here on Add Account. Oh, and one other thing to note. So you see how it's still grayed out. For whatever reason in Ledger Live, the only way to add your initial account is through the My Ledger tab after you install the first app. So you only have to do this the very first time you set up Ledger Live. So we'll add our account from here, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. So we'll go back to the Nano shot. It's asking me to open up the Ethereum app again. So it says application's ready, and that's just going to continue right there. Application ready. We'll go back to Ledger Live. And right now, what it's doing is it's synchronizing. It is using the information stored inside the Nano to the recovery phrase to generate the public keys for all the Ethereum accounts that are available to be derived from that recovery phrase, if that makes sense. It's a little complicated. We can go into a little bit more detail about that while this is synchronizing. Switch back to main shot. So basically, a recovery phrase can generate an unlimited amount of accounts for any blockchain. And it'll always create the exact same accounts in the exact same order. So we are adding an Ethereum account right now. Let me switch back to Ledger Live. Done synchronizing. You see Ledger Live is showing us Ethereum 1, and it's only showing one account though. It's only going to let us add one account. We'll go like this. I'm going to call this test dash S plus. Oops, that's not a plus. That's plus. All right, cool. So test dash S plus. This is my test nano S plus ETH account. I'm going to go ahead and add that account. But this is also the very first account that can be added from if I were to send a little bit of ETH to this account right here and fund it, and then go through the steps to add another ETH account, then it would add the second ETH account. And the wallet addresses will always be the same in the exact same order. So this is the very first ETH account that can be derived from the recovery phrase in this Nano. So this account is here. And of course, it's not funded because we just set up the Nano. So now, actually, I have another Nano S Plus. I'd like to show you kind of like how Ledger Live works and how adding accounts Nano works, because it's a little confusing and it's not very intuitive. So basically, you saw that we just added that account, and it was an account that was derived from the recovery phrase that's stored inside this Nano. It's very important to remember. Now, I have the Nano we just set up, which is still plugged in. I'll go ahead and unplug that. And then I have my work Nano that's got a little bit of Polygon that I like to use for demonstration, because Polygon is really good for demonstrations like this that we're about to get into. So basically, I added that ETH account from this one. I can add an ETH account from this one too, and they can both be in Ledger Live, and there will be different recovery phrases. But this one has a completely different recovery phrase. So the only way you'll ever be able to access an account that you add to Ledger Live is with the Nano that has the same recovery phrase that created that account. So this Nano can access this account, no problem, but this Nano cannot because it has a different recovery phrase. So if I were to go in, and conversely, if I were to add an ETH account from this Nano into Ledger Live, it'll still be there, but I will not be able to access it with this, which is why it's really important to give your accounts unique names, which is why I labeled that account test S plus, because now I know that account belongs to my Nano S plus test unit and not my work unit. So now I'll show you what it's like to add another account to Ledger Live. Okay, plug in my work Nano, enter my PIN real quick. And then I'm going to go back to accounts. I'm going to add another account. I'm going to select Ethereum. I'm going to hit continue. And then let me go to the Nano shot real quick. Opening up the Ethereum application on my work Nano. Go back to the Ledger Live. So right now, Ledger Live is synchronizing with this Nano. It's pulling up information from the recovery phrase of this Nano. It's going to show the public wallet addresses that are available for this one, but only the first one. And I believe I have a little bit of ETH on it, so we should be able to see what that looks like. All right. Yep. So I got 0.04348 ETH on this work account. So I'm going to go ahead and label this one work dash S plus. This is my work Nano S plus. And now you'll see, since this account is funded, we have the option to add the second ETH account as well. So I can actually add both these accounts if I wanted to also. And then if this account was funded, we would be able to add the third ETH account and so on. And you can do that as many times as you want, over and over and over again. So we're not going to add that account though, because it's empty. We're just going to import this account. All right. And you'll see this account also has several tokens. And actually, the balance is 0, but it had several tokens in it. If you were to send ERC20 tokens to your ETH address, this is what it looks like when you do that. They show up as tokens as sub accounts within the main account. So we'll go ahead and hide that. A little glitchy. So let me switch back to the main shot. Okay, so, and the reason I like to go through that exercise to show people is because if anything were to happen, if your computer were to get reset, if it were to get stolen or broken or anything, it's not that big of a deal. It's a big deal in your life because losing, your laptop stinks. But as far as your crypto goes and your crypto accounts, it cannot affect the security of your account in Ledger Live because your crypto is not actually in Ledger Live. Your crypto exists on the blockchain, secured, and with your recovery phrase being the only key that can access that account. And you put that key into a nano, and your nano then becomes your physical hardware key to access your accounts. And so if your laptop gets stolen, if it gets broken or whatever, all you have to do is get a new computer or reinstall Ledger Live and go through steps to add all your accounts back in, just like I just did. And you can do that whenever, and it doesn't matter. So good lesson. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna add a Polygon account because Polygon is better to show swaps. And I'd like to show you guys kind of like some features in Ledger Live and kind of what's available. So we'll add a Polygon account so we can play around a little bit. Sorry, did I mention this is my first live stream? Still working on some kinks, but I'll get smoother at this. All right, so we got accounts. I'm going to add a Polygon account. Polygon-matic. So this is also another reason why I like to show Polygon and ETH is because things can get really confusing with ERC20 version of Polygon versus mainnet Polygon. Let me switch back to main shot because this is pretty important. So you can send Polygon to your ETH wallet as an ERC20 token. And if you do, it will show up just like I just showed you. It'll show up as Matic as a token within your ETH account. Or since Matic is its own blockchain that's built on top of Ethereum, you can actually send Matic over mainnet to your Polygon account. And it's different. And the only thing that really differentiates what network it arrives on in your wallet is how you choose to withdraw it from the exchange. There's other ways to do it. You can use a bridge. You can use a Polygon bridge to bridge from the Ethereum network to the Polygon network. But I'll be honest, the Polygon bridge is it's kind of an advanced tool using decentralized bridges. It's not that difficult, but the main issue is that if something goes wrong, there's no recourse for it. And so it's better to really understand what you're doing before you start playing around with decentralized bridges. So the easiest way is from the exchange. It's how you withdraw it from the exchange. For instance, Coinbase supports both the ERC20 wrapped version of Matic and it also supports Matic mainnet. And so during the withdrawal steps on Coinbase, if you choose to withdraw it over the ERC20 network, it's going to arrive in your ETH account as a token. But if you choose to withdraw it over the Polygon mainnet, then it'll arrive in your Polygon account. And another thing to keep in mind, let's say you want your Matic as an ERC20 token in your ETH account, but you accidentally send it over mainnet to your Polygon account, that's still not a big deal because you would simply just have to add a Polygon account and recover the asset because it'll still go there. Whether Ledger Live shows it or not, the blockchain knows that this asset exists in your wallet and you just have to show that to Ledger Live. So this Polygon account right here, I'm gonna switch back to Ledger Live. I'm adding a Polygon account. Takes a minute to synchronize. Oh, another good, it'll be more apparent after the account is in, you can see the difference. But one other thing is, if you notice, the Polygon mainnet is the purple logo. If it shows up as blue, then you're most likely trying to add a ERC20 account, which is not necessary. That would be, if it shows up as the blue, the Ethereum blue, then it's going to be as a token. If it's the purple, then it's on the mainnet. So we're going to go ahead and label this. This is my work S plus. Oop. Not used to the keyboard. Okay, and we have just under 17 Matic in there. And then I also want to show you guys something that's pretty cool. We talked about how all that matters is what network you send it over. And that's because the public wallet addresses of your Ethereum account and your Matic account are actually exactly the same. We'll go ahead and show you that. So here's the receive address for I'm going to click on this. Oh, actually, I'll go through this step. This is how you verify. We'll do the nano shot. And right now we're generating our receive address for our Ethereum account. Now it wants me to open up the Ethereum app, which I'm doing. Back to Ledger Live. It'll immediately start synchronizing. Oh, something went wrong. Please check that your hardware wallet. Oh, look at that. I tried to access. Yeah, let's go back to accounts. So that one right there. So I was trying to access this account right here, this test S plus. It's funny, I didn't even notice that. So I was trying to access this test S plus account with my work nano. And like I said earlier, that's not possible to do because my work nano does not have the credentials to access this account right here. So let me show you that error message one more time because I just kind of clicked out of it real quick. I'm gonna click don't have your device. Oh wait, no. I'm going to redo that. It appears to be frozen. Okay, let's switch back shot while that unfreezes. So it was pretty quick, and I'll pull it back up so you can see it. But that error message that you saw, it says, "Oops, something went wrong. Please check that your device is set up with the same recovery phrase that created this account." And that's what the error message said. If you ever get that error message, you're just trying to access an account that wasn't set up from the same recovery phrase. So here, I'll show you. It's unfrozen. Ledger Live. We got the work S plus plugged in. We're going to try to access this. I'm going to go receive. Oops. Yep, there we go. Oh, it looks like it doesn't have the oops. I added the oops for drama, but it's not there. All right, so that's the error message. If you get that, then you know definitively that's the only thing that can cause the error message is trying to access an account that cannot be accessed with that nano. So instead, we'll go back here. Work S plus. We're going to receive. This will generate our receive address. And continue. And now you can see that it's going to let me do it. So this is our public wallet address for the for my work Ethereum account. You can see it's 0x2f8 to start with, and then we'll go with 08c1 just to give an idea. So then we're going to go ahead and approve it. The nano. Show you what that looks like. So it says to verify the address. This is important to do. And you go like this, and you can character by character make sure that the address that's showing on the screen is an exact match to what's on the nano. And then you can either approve it or you can reject it. This time, in this case, it's the same, so we're going to go ahead and approve it. That's a good address. And you go back to Ledger Live, and then you're done. And during the approve step, you're given the option to copy the wallet address. And that's the wallet address that you would plug into the exchange to send your crypto to. Go back. Okay, so we had that. And then now let's generate the wallet address for our Polygon account, which is going to be an exact match to our Ethereum account. All right, 0x2f, 08c1. So that, and yeah, normally you would go through and you would verify each character, and that is definitely recommended to do. But for the sake of just this tutorial video, we'll just kind of simplify it. And yeah, just to show you that the address is exactly the same. And that's just because they are the same exact public wallet address, different networks. And so it's a little confusing, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it becomes more intuitive as you go. All right. So let's see. Let's go back. Do we have any? Are there any? Is there anything anybody wants to see, like swap or here? We'll just go through it. All right. So you can swap through the swap tab. There's a couple different options. Um, let's see. So we've got our work S plus with a little bit of funds on it. Let's go. Oh wait, no, we change account. We want to use Polygon because Ethereum is too expensive to do swaps on. So we'll do, let's say, 5 Matic. Oh, it has to be 44. So I guess we cannot. Let's try doing it from a different one. We'll go to the Discover tab. The Discover tab has all kinds of really cool applications in it. It's definitely worth checking out. There's constantly new stuff added to here, and like this one's really cool right here, stacking sats. If you're into Bitcoin and you want to DCA and you don't want to think about it, you can set up your stacking sats account to just automatically purchase Bitcoin and deposit it right into your Ledger Live account without ever even having to think about it, which is super awesome. Then you also have decentralized exchange aggregators such as Paraswap or 1inch. Actually, I think 1inch. Oh, yep, it's still okay. Cool. Yeah, we still have 1inch. Let me go back to Paraswap because I really like Paraswap. So, you might not have heard. Let me shot. So, with these swap features, there's important differentiators between the different types of swap providers that you see in Ledger Live and outside of Ledger. You have a centralized swap provider such as Changely, which if you go into the swap tab, you'll most likely be using Changely for the swap. And that will require a, you can also use CIC, which does not require KYC, but any centralized authority or exchange that does these, that does these types of services, that offers these services, will require KYC. But that's not the case for the decentralized exchange aggregators because they're decentralized, and so nobody owns them. But there's also limitations to the DEX aggregators, and that's in that they can only do Ethereum or Polygon ERC20 transactions. I believe that's all Paraswap can do. Let me go back to Ledger Live, show you what that. All right. And I might not have enough crypto to even make a swap, but let's play around with this and see what it looks like. All right, so we got Paraswap right here. See, it's got my ETH address already linked right there. So let's see. We only have 0.4. Let's see what we can do. I guess it's not much, but let's see. So 0.02 ETH. Oh, looks like it's going to let us. And then we want some DAI. So let's review the trade. Okay. So it looks like it's going to let us do this. So we got showing 28. Looks like there's going to be some fees, blah, 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 blah. Looks like the expected minimum receipt is 27. Let's confirm the order. Let's yeah, let's confirm. Okay, and then it shows up signed transaction. Let me switch to network fees are pretty high, or they're above 10% of the amount that we're swapping. So we are gonna lose some on this, but that's okay. Let's so we're actually gonna pay 0.039 ETH, and we're only going to receive 0.02 ETH, or the 27. So I'm actually not going to do this because I don't want to lose out on 0.02 ETH, but you can see that it is possible. And then I will actually go through. So you see I hit sign the transaction. But since we are in cold storage, every transaction has to be authorized from the Nano. So let's go ahead and do this. This is going to probably install the Paraswap. It's going to open the Paraswap app that we can use the Paraswap. And we go back to Ledger Live, and you can see that it's compiling the transaction. Now it wants us to approve the transaction. So let me go back to the Nano and show you what that looks like. So review the transaction, swap. We're going to swap 0.02. We're going to send 0.02 ETH, and we're going to receive 28.23 DAI. And then there's going to be 0.019 ETH as fees. So that's like almost the same amount that we're receiving, and that's, you know, kind of crazy. This is why I don't usually like doing demonstration with ETH, although I'm going to need to get a little bit more matic before I can show you that. So we're going to go like this. We're not going to accept and send this. We're going to deny this. We do not want that. Let me switch back to Ledger Live. And then it just says operation denied on device. So we're going to go ahead and click out of that. But if I were to accept and send, it would have made that transaction, and then back in my accounts tab, my Work S Plus, pretty much all of the ETH left in the Work S Plus would be gone, and I would receive 28 DAI in return. And shot. Okay, all right. So I think I showed quite a bit. I think I went over most of the main points on kind of how this stuff works. But does anybody have any questions now? I'll go ahead and open it up to questions from the audience. If anybody has anything they want to ask me direct. Huge shout out to Ty and Brady. They've been doing an awesome job modding. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, is there, let me scroll up here and see. How can I get to Bluetooth on device? Okay, yeah, I'll show you that. I'll show you the Nano X. Let me pull up a Nano X real quick. Out of my bag of nanos that I have over here. Okay, let me switch to Nano Shot. Plug in this is the Nano X. This is my work Nano X. Let me go ahead and enter the pin real quick. So when you enter in your PIN, you unlock your Nano X, you are thrown onto your screen where you have your Nano apps. So if you hold both buttons, this is your dashboard where you can see all your different apps. Hold both buttons for a few seconds, and it's going to bring you to your control center. So from your control center, you can enter the settings menu to alter the settings for your device. But if you scroll to the right, you will see eventually right there your Bluetooth settings. So you're going to want to make sure this says enabled right there. And then if you see this picture right here, you can see that my Nano X is paired to my phone, and that's the Bluetooth pair code right there. So after you do enable Bluetooth and you pair it with your device, then you will be able to, you'll see this, and you'll see that it's a paired device. I hope that answers your question. Go ahead and close the control center. All right. Back here. Genuine test. Ron Hart, can you be more specific? Is it like during when you first set up your Nano, you never saw, it never asked you to allow Ledger Manager on your Nano? Do you remember that? Okay, he might be typing. Oh, here we go. Community chat for information. I'm not too sure what you're referring to. Say if you're talking about like Ledger and like the Ledger community, the best place is our Discord. We have an awesome Discord. You should join it and get involved, and lots of discussions that go on that take place there. Lots of questions can be answered there. It's a great tool, great resource, and it's a fun community to be involved in. If we have any ETA on KDA, I do not have an ETA on KDA. Although I will say, let's see, it's hard because I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, Ty is on my computer and I'm on Ty's computer, so it's kind of hard for me to like look up stuff right now. But I will go over kind of like the general. So KDA, I believe. I don't want to say anything that I'm not 100% on, but so I'll just talk about the general process around apps. The nano apps to get a coin supported in Ledger Live, it's not a super intuitive process. Basically, because the Ledger Live software is open source, we allow developers of blockchains to develop their own nano app. Basically, if they want to be listed on Ledger Live and they want to be supported on Ledger Live, they will go to developers.ledger.com, and that's our developer portal. And from there, you can find the steps to build a nano app. And so that developer team would build the nano app and then submit it to us. And then our security team would then review it. And once everything checks out, then it gets published to Ledger Live. And I believe there is a Kadena app. I'd have to look, but it's tough because we can't really release a lot of information on the process, the security review, until after it's done. So basically, if there's demand from the users, it will get done. It's just a matter of time. And another thing to keep in mind is every blockchain kind of works a little bit different, and they all have their own nuances. So some can take longer than others, and some are more difficult than others. For instance, Polkadot is very complicated, very complex, and so it's a lot of work to keep that app updated and to have built that app. So just keep that in mind. I hope that answers your question. It's very vague, I know, I'm sorry, but yeah, I hope that answers your question. Let's see what we got. You said Gala, but over the wrong network. That's a good question. So what network? Here, let me go ahead and I'll show you how I like. Actually, again, I'm on Ty's computer, so I don't know where all these links are, but I can show you. Let me go to Chrome. So you can see we have our website pulled up. Let me go to CoinGecko real quick. Let's look up Gala. See what Gala is. Oh, nice pump today in the market. That's cool. Gala. All right, so Gala, you can see, is an ERC20 token right here. And then I'm like 99% sure that this token is supported in Ledger Live through the ETH account, just because I've seen it so much, and because it is top 100 token, and we actually pull our token support for Ledger Live as our API links directly to CoinGecko, so that's where we actually pull in our information. So if it's listed here and it checks out, then it's most likely supported in Ledger Live. So my question for you would be, what network did you send it over? That probably not the best. So basically, if you send it over the Ethereum network, then you should just be able to add an Ethereum account to Ledger Live and your token should show up. It should be within your Ethereum account. And if it doesn't, then it could be the case that you need to add a little bit of Ethereum to the account in order to get your tokens to show up. While your token will definitely still be in that account, if Ledger Live is not able to display token counter values until it is funded with a small amount of ETH. So that's something to keep in mind. And however, if you send it over a different network, still totally recoverable. Like if you send it over Binance Smart Chain by accident, or Kronos, or Polygon, in any case, your token is recoverable. And just open up a support ticket and we'll get that settled for you real easy, real quick. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy Becker, for looking into that. Yeah, I was pretty sure KDA is coming soon. We are working on it. There's a lot of demand for that. So let's see. Natty Frontino, can you please help me get my funds back? A lot of money has been stolen off my ledger and ledger. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Do you have a case number? If you have you already opened up a support ticket? And if so, share your case number with us, and we'll get on that right away. In fact, I'll get on that personally. If you had money stolen from you, I'm very sorry to hear about that. See. How to send Walton coin from exchange to ledger. Go back to our CoinGecko view and check out Walton coin. Chrome, there we go. All right. Walton coin. Ah, there it is, Walton chain. Is it right here, Walton chain? WTC, yep, that's it. Cool, Walton chain. Oh, look at that. So it looks like it is definitely an ERC20 token. I'm looking at the contract address. I see Ethereum. I see an Ethereum contract address. I didn't explain that before, but that's basically what tips me off that this is an ERC20 token built on Ethereum. Is I look here in the top right, you see info, contract, and you see a little Ethereum symbol with the contract address. That tells me it's an ERC20 token built on Ethereum. And so, however, again, since we do pull our data straight from CoinGecko, it is most likely the case that you will be able to see your Walton chain by sending it directly to your Ethereum account, and it'll show up as a token like I showed you here. I'll go back to Ledger Live. It'll show up just like you see my WorkS Plus, you see Crypto.com, Matic, Tether. It'll show up just like that within your Ethereum account. Go back to the screenshot. And if it doesn't show up, and for whatever reason it's not supported, there's no need to fear. It's just simply the Walton chain will still be in your. I'd be able to look for certain on my own. In fact, maybe one of the mods can check out WTC and see if on our GitHub and see if that's confirmed that that's supported. But even if it is not, it's still inside your account. The issue is just that Ledger Live can't see it because it hasn't been activated. And so if that's the case, then you can recover it very easily by connecting your Nano to MetaMask, which is a little bit more of an advanced topic, but it's not too difficult. And we have a great Help Center article that shows you how to do that. So you would want to connect your Nano to MetaMask. You would import your account, your ETH account, into MetaMask the exact same way you do with Ledger Live. It's actually the exact same process. It's just a different application. So then you would allow MetaMask to view and show your ETH, and then you could from there you can add a custom token. It's a feature of MetaMask that allows you to add any token contract address, and then you would be able to recover your Walton chain. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Not supported in Ledger Live. Okay, so you'd have to use MetaMask. Thanks, Ty. Appreciate that. All right. Having an issue confirming a transaction on my, oh, I didn't see the time. So this will probably be our last question. Let's see. Having an issue confirming transaction on my Nano S from MetaMask. Once I confirm on MetaMask, nothing pops up on my ledger to confirm the transaction. Line signing is enabled. There's actually a lot of different things that could be causing that. It could be it's some sort of a connection error. It could be the web browser you're using. That's probably the most common. Do you know what web browser you're using? If you're using Firefox or if you're using like Microsoft Edge, I recommend trying to use Chrome or Brave. Brave is a Chromium-based browser, and both of those tend to work much better with Web3 applications, including connecting with MetaMask and stuff. If you are on Chrome, I would say make sure you have everything up to date. Check out your Chrome settings, make sure everything's good. Make sure the firmware on your Nano S is fully up to date. Make sure you have Ledger Live closed. If you have Ledger Live open and it's also trying to connect to your Nano, then that will mess up the connection with MetaMask, and MetaMask won't be able to communicate with. And that goes for any other wallet software that you have open. Anything, if there's ever two different applications competing for a connection on your Nano, it's going to ruin it for everybody. So make sure you only have one application opened up attempting to connect to your Nano at a time. If nothing like that helps, then probably open up a support ticket and reach out to us, and we can probably figure out pretty quick. We need to ask you questions, like very specifics, like about your setup and what versions of everything you have, what kind of computer you have, because the fix may be much different depending on your specific setup. we'd be able to figure it out. So reach out to us and we'll help you out with that. But yeah, I think that we're pretty much out of time for today. I hope I did okay. This is my very first time. I look forward to doing it again. I really appreciate everyone coming out. This was awesome. And huge shout out to Ty and Brady. You guys are awesome, helping out as mods in the chat. On that, I think we're going to be out for the day. Thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.